Friends, our Navy is slowly heading towards a crisis. And you know what the worst part is? It could cost India its dominance in the Indian Ocean region. Which means this crisis is not just about submarines, it is about India's strategic power. See, currently India has around 20 submarines, out of which 3 are nuclear and the rest are conventional. But here's the problem. Most of these submarines are 30 to 40 years old, and they are now heading towards retirement. In fact, one submarine has already retired, and by 2032, 7 more could retire. Which means, by 2032, India might be left with just 12 submarines, creating a massive gap in our naval strength. Meanwhile, China, our biggest strategic competitor, could have more than 80 submarines by 2032. Now just think for a minute. China, which is already increasing its presence in the Indian Ocean, will now have such a massive upper hand. And this is a direct threat to India's dominance in the region. But the real question is, why is there such a huge gap between India and China? See, China manufactures around 6 to 8 submarines every year. So even after retiring older submarines, they still add 2 to 3 submarines annually. On the other hand, India takes up to 6 years to build just one submarine. Just think, China makes 6 inches a year, and India takes 6 years to make just one. So the question is, why does India take so much time? There are 2 major reasons. The first is lack of manufacturing infrastructure. India cannot build more than one submarine at a time, and this is because historically India has not focused enough on shipbuilding infrastructure. The second reason is the technology gap. India still lacks some of the critical modern technologies required in advanced submarines. For example, there is a technology called Air Independent Propulsion, or AIP. This technology allows submarines to stay underwater for much longer durations, making them far more stealthy and effective. But India does not yet have fully operational AIP systems. DRDO is working on it, but it is still in the development stage. So now the big question is, what is the solution? This is a question that has already concerned the Indian government, and they are actively working on it. At first glance, many people might think, if we can't build submarines fast enough, why not just buy them? But that only fills the gap. It does not solve the core problem. See, the biggest risk in purchasing weapons is dependency. Dependency on other nations, especially in modern warfare, is itself a strategic vulnerability. Our real problem is not just the number of submarines, it is our limited ability to build them. And that is exactly where this new deal comes in. Recently, India signed a major defense agreement with Germany, worth around 90,000 crore rupees. Under this deal, German and Indian companies will form a joint venture to manufacture submarines in India. Not just manufacturing, designing, testing and development will also take place within India. Germany will provide advanced technologies including AIP, and more importantly, they will help India build the infrastructure needed to manufacture submarines at scale. So, what does this mean? It means India will not just buy submarines, India will start building them, and that changes everything. Because if India tries to build submarines alone, it could take nearly 36 years to build just 6 submarines. But with this partnership, India can build 6 advanced submarines in just 11 years. So, this deal does 2 things at once. It fills the immediate gap, and it solves the long-term problem. This is not just a defense deal. This is a foundation for India's future in shipbuilding. And that's why this deal is not just about submarines. It is about capability, it is about self-reliance, and most importantly, it is about power. Because in the coming decades, the Indian Ocean will decide global trade and global influence, and the country that dominates these waters will shape the future. The question is, will India be ready?